Hi, I'm Thanh Nguyen, and I'm the Senior Usability Engineer here at BusinessOnLine. And today I'm going to discuss a little bit about moderated user testing. In usability, there are three types of different testing. There's in-lab user testing, moderated user testing, and automated user testing. And the reason why we do remotely moderated user testing, which is the second of those three choices, is because it allows us for a geographically diverse audience, and it allows a more natural setting because users don't have to come into a lab where it's very unfamiliar to them and it's not their natural environment. It's also more cost effective because we're not waiting for users to show up, and a lot of times we get no-shows for in-lab user testing. So, with a remotely moderated user testing, this is how it works. First of all, what we do is we do a prep time. So, in the prep, what you have is just preparing for the entire moderated user testing itself. And with that comes creating a screener for your users, because we want to know what type of users we want. And we typically want around 5 to 12 users per segment. 15 would be best, to really understand, what are some of the breakdowns in task performance. Are there labeling conventions that are being validated from the user's mental model? Are there any usability issues that are occurring before we even design the website? And we also want validation of the wireframes to make sure that we are heading in the right direction. If we are doing moderated user testing right after wireframes are developed, we do a lot of validation user testing. And essentially with the validation, we're just trying to make sure that we're going along the right path. So first of all, we want to get a screener. With a screener, we really define who are we recruiting. So we usually want a half and half mixture of current users as well as potential users, so that we don't break the conventions that the current users are accustomed to, as well as being able to accommodate new users so that their learning curve will be fairly low. The second part is designing the script. So the script usually is a document, very much like this long document, which I'm giving you a Cliff's Notes of this right now, of the different types of questions we ask the users. So we ask three different types of questions. There's the pre-interview questions, there is the interview itself, or the test itself, and post-test. And the pre-interview questions are basically just web graphics information that we want to get more information regarding the users. How many times a week do they go online? How often do they spend their time online? What are some of the things they're doing? And have they visited your specific website before, to really demonstrate whether or not they are a current user or a new user coming to your site, or if they're an infrequent user. We really want to know their website visiting habits, especially to your website. Now, the interview questions are broken up into two parts. There is the exploratory side, and then there's the task-based or the performance-based side. Depending on the type of artifacts that we have, and when I talk about artifacts, I'm talking about the deliverables or tools we're working with. If it's wireframes, then we want to do more exploratory user testing. If it's, let's say, during implementation, we want to do more task-based or performance-based moderated user testing. Usually we do a mixture of both, but a focus on either one. So for validation testing or wireframe testing, we usually do more exploratory. And what I mean by that is we ask the users their expectations for content and features and functionality for a specific area within the site. And then we also ask them to try and find and locate information, as well as trying to accomplish some of the main tasks that the user would be going to the site for. For instance, if it's a travel site, we want to try to get them to book. If it's a scheduling site, we want to see how they go ahead and schedule information online. Things like that we really want to test out on the performance side. And then lastly is the post-test questions. And that's essentially to evaluate the subjective and overall feeling of the website itself. Do they find it easy to use based on the wireframes they see? Do they find it consistent? Do they find the labels make sense? Things like that. So they give a subjective satisfaction rating from a scale of usually 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. So we take all this data and we record it during the user testing for about an hour. So the user testing takes about an hour. So let me go back to the whiteboard here. So after we're done with prep, we actually go into scheduling the users. And then after that, we actually go into the testing. The testing usually takes an hour. And in that hour, we try to get everything from giving them a heads up on what's going to come within the entire hour itself, and going through the pre-test questions, test questions, and post-test questions, and then lastly, thanking them and letting them know regarding when their incentive will be sent. Usually, we recommend an incentive for users because they're spending a pretty significant amount of their time giving you their opinions and especially their time. So we want to make sure we thank them by showing them how much we value their input for helping us with the redesign of the website itself. So after the testing, what we usually do is we go back and we do analysis. And with the analysis, we make sure that we watch the videos again, because we are recording the entire session with audio and video, recording their screen movements as they move around within the website and trying to accomplish the task that we've determined during the script making process. And so we take a look at the video for any other usability problems that might occur that we did not note the first time around. Usually when we're doing user testing, there's always a moderator and an observer. A moderator goes ahead and facilitates the entire question and interview. An observer is there making sure they catch all the usability problems that a user might have along the way. And with the analysis, we use those notes and we go back to the videos to make sure they match. And we use the different usability errors we find and record them in a report. So the final deliverable that you are going to have is going to be a report. And the report documents or details some of the findings that we have regarding usability errors, user's mental model regarding some of the pages, content, new content that should be included that wasn't included, or even revisions to the wireframe. If we're doing the wireframes correctly, we should get more validation than revelations. So we want to make sure that not the same person who's doing the wireframe testing is also doing the wireframes, so that there's no emotional involvement in that process. So we give a report, and it should give you user validation of the website redesign process, or where you are in that process so far, as well as insight on how your users perceive the information that you will give them, as well as ideas for new content and functionality. So with that, that's the, I guess, Cliff's Notes version of a moderated user testing. Thank you for your time.